So the object here is to win.
No dough, no show.
Sounds to me like you guys a couple of bookies.
Show me the money.
Welcome to the Edge Zone Podcast, the show where we pull back the curtain on the sharpest minds in betting and give you the tools you need to win. As we gear up for the launch of the Edge Zone community, we're happy to bring you a series of podcasts that will introduce you to exclusive contributors we have joining the team, and we're starting off with an absolute gem. Today's special guest, SaltCovers, joins us all the way from Australia. And if you follow us on X at Edge Zone HQ, you've already seen him dropping WNBA plays before the market moves and collecting absolutely insane CLV at a shocking clip. If you're not following us, well, today you're going to find out exactly what you're missing. Salt, welcome in, mate. It's a pleasure to have you join the show.
Welcome in, mates. Yeah, love to see you taking on the Australian language or lingo, as we like to call it in Australia. Yeah, very excited to be on board with you guys in Edge Zone. We've got some very exciting things cooking up, and yeah, it's going to be an awesome, vibrant community that we're starting up.
Yeah, we're super excited to bring you on board, man. The value that we've discovered that you bring to the table, we cannot wait for the Edge Zone community to really get a taste of that and understand what you're putting together, man. Your game plan is serious. Now we're joined by the founder, Nick. Nick, how you doing today, brother?
Doing great, man. Super excited to be here. Like you guys said, we're cooking up something really special here in the Edge Zone, and I think Salt's going to bring very unique angles and edges to everybody in the community.
There's no doubt about that. Now, Salt, you're based in Australia, which is honestly it's a world away from most of our members. How does being on that side of the globe impact the way you approach the NBA and WNBA markets?
Yeah, so where I'm based, I am exactly 12 hours ahead of the Eastern Standard Time Zone. Yeah, so being 12 hours ahead, it allows me to really dig into these overnight markets, get ahead of these overnight moves. And yeah, so some of the plays that I'll be dropping, they'll be at like 12 p.m. Or they'll be at like midnight Eastern, 1 a.m. Eastern. So it can be a little bit challenging for those who work full-time Monday to Friday. But I think that's a really good benefit of where I am. It allows me to monitor these overnight markets and get ahead of them nice and early.
Well, if you keep doing what you're doing, I promise you some alarms are going to be set and some people are going to be waking up at midnight to see what's going on, brother. Before we continue, tell me where you got that nickname SaltCovers from, brother.
A lot of my friends, they coined me Salt or Salty, most of which is due to my personality. I can, sometimes be very direct, perhaps a little bit prickly as well, so maybe even salty. And yeah, that's just where the nickname got coined, so it made perfect sense to make that my internet persona. And then obviously got to throw on the gambling reference as well. I know we've got a lot of X covers out there, maybe too many, so why not one more?
I think it markets well, man. It's got a ring to it. I dig it.
Yeah, no, it definitely fits. I guess, Salt, something that we're wondering, and I'm sure everybody else in the audience and stuff will be wondering too, why WNBA and NBA? What makes that a market that appeals to you?
Yeah, so firstly, I love basketball, been playing for over 20 years, been dabbling in a bit of coaching as well. Now, I'm also one of the first people to say you absolutely do not need to know ball to be able to bet on it. Yeah, that's a very silly take to have, but yeah, I do have a pretty good understanding of what stats matter and how to model and project basketball, and then I also have a pretty good understanding of the situational spots that come into handicapping basketball as well. So I think those are all things that play in my favor. Obviously, a big NBA fan. So transitioning over to the WNBA after this latest NBA season was finished made perfect sense for me.
What have you realized is the main differences between the NBA and WNBA, like the movements and the lines and how you're getting ahead of the market? How significant are those differences?
Yeah, so in the WNBA, I'd say it is a lot more volatile where the market will like kind of yo-yo bounce up and down, whether that's due to like lower liquidity or some setup action. I'd say it's probably more lower liquidity more than anything, but you do need to be careful with just blindly like following the steam and taking the low hanging fruit, because it can just as easily come back the other way. So that's something that really caught me by surprise early on. I think with the NBA, it's not as volatile. It seems like there is a bit more like one-sided sort of action in the NBA, whereas you might see a team, you might see the New York Liberty in the WNBA, you might see them open at 3, it might quickly move to like 4, you might pick off that last remaining 3, but then by game time it's back at 3. And yeah, so just being able to learn about these patterns in the WNBA, it did take a little bit of an adjustment, but now that we're over halfway through the season, I think I'm pretty in tune with how this market behaves.
I mean, we can all attest to that. I mean, ever since we've been able to tail you and understand the value you're bringing, I've not seen you miss a number that doesn't move in the favor of what you're putting out. By no way does that, result in the outcome specifically that we want to happen. We know it's a game to be played, but anytime you're getting ahead of the number, the way that you are, the value is unmistakable.
It gives you options. Once you get ahead of the market, you can, try to, if you've got enough closing line value, you can go ahead and play some of it back, try and open up the middle. And yeah, I mean, so far this season, I've been tracking how we've been doing against the closing line, and I've, yeah, almost nearly 200 bets placed, and we're closing ahead of the market 75% of the time. And then the remaining 25%, it's either flat CLV or no closing line value. I only evaluate a bet as being good if you're closing ahead of the market. As far as I'm concerned, if you're betting into a flat market, it's not a good bet.
It's what's baked into the market already. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Salt, I have a question here. I would love to know if you've picked up on any patterns through NBA season or WNBA season. If you feel like you might have a little bit higher of an edge on, the different markets, right, between totals and spreads, or do you kind of weigh those equally? Or is there one that you tend to think, maybe the books aren't as sharp on, or you can get ahead of a little bit quicker on some of these opening lines?
Yeah. I would say I prefer the totals a little bit more than
That
the
was my
sides.
guess, yeah.
I think that's where you'll see the majority of my action in the totals. I think they are a bit easier to attack. Just looking at my spreadsheet, and it's a bit 50-50. I thought I was attacking more totals than spreads, but I just think in terms of being able to forecast totals, the level of information that is publicly available right now in the WNBA isn't great in terms of like schedule adjusted ratings, a few other bits and pieces that I've been looking into in terms of team pace.
Yep.
And I do think that side of it is something that may be a little bit behind, and it's something worth looking into as well.
No, that's really good insight. And then I know, again, right, this is your first year attacking the WNBA, but like, do you ever see yourself in the future maybe attacking like the props? I know, again, that gets even more, right, like less liquidity markets than the totals and the spreads and stuff, especially if you're attacking it early. But I mean, I feel like, if someone can beat the major markets, they definitely could probably beat the props. So I just didn't know if that was something that you maybe would ever, try to attack in the future.
Yeah, it's something that I've thought about. Obviously, attacking WNBA props, like if you're consistently beating those at a book, like you're gonna get thrown out pretty quick.
100%.
If you're betting on a Sonia Citron over assists, like if a bookie sees you consistently beating that market, yeah, you're gonna get cut off pretty quick.
100%. We have some
Yeah,
exchanges here in America though, so we might be able to do some business together. They don't
yeah,
ban us, they welcome winning bettors, so we'll
That's
talk
the
about
key. Yeah,
that.
yeah. That's definitely a key to getting around these limits in the markets is using the betting exchanges, and we'd be happy to talk to you about that. So
yeah. As for what I'm doing right now, it is all team level sort of stuff. I'm yet to really learn or dive into how to project player level stuff. It's certainly something that I'm open to learning in the future, but at the moment I'm just sticking to team level projections. So I'm not willing to just base WNBA props based on like low level analysis. Last 10 games sort of an easy way to lose money. Obviously, yeah, you can try top down, pick off some low hanging fruit with the WNBA props. But yeah, as for right now, where I don't have like a number to match it against, I'm more or less just steering clear of the WNBA props.
No, definitely agree. I mean, like you said, those last 10 type of trends are, in my opinion, just a trap. And the NBA, I think that's a much harder, thing to kind of model or project for players because, just like the rotations and the lineups change so much night to night. But I do think, like the WNBA is much more consistent with that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something you attack down the line.
yeah, if your reputation precedes you when it does come out, if you need a beta tester, it's look just look me up, man. Yeah.
Nice to have no load management in the WNBA as well.
That's, yeah.
That's always good to see.
That's like the only thing that pisses me off. It's like there's one game here, there's no games the next
Yep.
day, then there's four, then there's one. It's like Jesus Christ, man. I love betting on this sport, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Salt, talk to us a little bit about your past that led you into being able to build these projection models, and a little bit about how you do them without giving away any secret sauce. But maybe walk us through like your past and sort of how you got into building these models and how you're so successful with them now.
Yeah, so like most people who started to take betting seriously, we all started out as a square, all started out as a recreational bettor. I think very few people just immediately started betting, smartly and with an edge. So yeah, I would say for since about February this year, I built like a very low level, bare bones sort of NBA model. Um, and yeah, I had started following some sharp people on Twitter, on YouTube, and I found it very, very interesting just being able to bet on these games just using top down methods initially. I thought that the people that were successful at gambling, they were just very good at picking winners, but no, that is very far from the case. They're great at picking prices and probabilities, yes, but picking the winner, like that's not true. So yeah, in about February this year, I built a very low level NBA model using some team level stats that I had manipulated myself. Offensive rating, defensive rating. Obviously, that sort of stuff is widely available, but being able to mess around with that a little bit, as well as team pace as well. That's probably the biggest part of where I've tried to defer from what is widely available. I built some projections in February and did when I first started posting YouTube videos, we were doing very poorly. I was I was down about 15 units to start my YouTube series, and you can go check out some of my earlier videos. We were struggling. Like, I was thinking about, like, wow, like, do I even keep doing this? But yeah, we just continued to grind out edges, bet these games, in the overnight markets if you're in America. And, just like this WNBA season, we really went on a tear after the All-Star break. I can't quite explain why that is the case. It's probably just, if you're continuing to grind out plus EV bets, eventually things are going to turn your way. I don't think there's really anything special per se about post All-Star break. I mean, I guess you could say the bad teams are starting to mail it in a little bit, but that's not really something I'm taking into account there. But yeah, I guess my strategy going forward is, sort of like a mixture of origination and both top down. Like, if I do start to see the market creeping towards where my projections have it, then I'll absolutely go pick off the low hanging fruit there. I'd say, about 80% of my bets are just, a sort of a mixture of both. And then maybe the remaining 20%, maybe it's 15%, is just betting into a flat market where I think the price is completely off. And had a very good closing run to the NBA season, and the YouTube views started to increase. We were doing a lot of writing on Reddit as well. Got to start somewhere. And now we've rolled it over to the WNBA, and just sort of using some of those same principles. And with the WNBA, like, there's less team level data available out there, so I've had to mess around with trying to adjust teams based on their schedule. I think that's a place where you can really get ahead, because that sort of information isn't out there at the moment for the WNBA.
Yeah, I mean, everything you walk through there is giving us an idea of how you come up with these line beating numbers. And I just want to stress to the community the value of that, because we all understand top down, EV betting and what that provides. But when you're getting ahead of the market at a 75% clip, and you think about, playing in volume, it's like you said, not every pick's going to go your way, and you might have a down time. It's getting ahead of the market. It's getting this value early and playing it in volume and over time. The whole scope of plus EV that's going to lead to long-term profits. With your track record, there's no way, if you continue to pick off the market like this, that we're not going to do big things, brother. And we're so happy to have you on board, and we're so happy to let the community know that they're going to have the earliest access to your data and your picks through the Discord.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And as you've said, join the Discord. That's where I would be posting my plays first. I still plan to record the YouTube videos, but I record those YouTube videos around, between 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in America, whereas I'm placing my bets around anywhere from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, by the time I record some of these videos, like, I can tell you what I'm on, but I can't really advocate for you to go ahead and place that bet. Either it's not available or yeah. So highly recommend you to check out Edge Zone. We've also got a lot of other exciting contributors across a number of different sports, and I feel like we can build something that's really positive and really good for the gambling Twitter community.
Absolutely. Just you being available also as a contributor, right? An exclusive contributor. Just the engagement you can have with the community there to really help them understand what it is about your methods or to feel more comfortable about your process and really educate too is a huge part of why we're building the community. It's just that it's a community where we can all come together and understand and share these things. So we're super excited about that, brother. Yeah, and Salt, as we're wrapping up here, what's the number one piece of advice you'd give to someone trying to get sharper in these markets?
Yeah, so I think that the number one piece of advice for anyone trying to bet smarter and become a better bettor is track your bets, whether it's using a third party tracking like Picket or Juice Reel or just setting up a spreadsheet. For me, I don't the Pickets and the Juice Reels, they unfortunately don't work for me because they don't well, one Picket isn't even available in Australia. Juice Reel is, but it doesn't sync up with all of the sports books that I use as of yet. One thing tracking your bets does, it allows you to go back, find where you're going well, find where you're going bad. It also just holds you accountable, and it really allows you to monitor your process. And the same can be said for like any sort of walk of life. Like if you want to become a fitter and a healthier person, you track your food, you track how much you eat. If you want to lose weight, you track how many calories you're taking in. And just like with betting, if you want to become a better bettor, you want to track how you're doing, whether you're closing against, whether you're gaining closing line value. And if you're, if you're down units, but you're beating the closing market at a good clip, chances are things are going to turn around for you if you continue to beat the market. And yeah, that's probably the biggest piece of advice for just anyone starting out. Track your action. It'll hold you a lot more accountable going forward.
I love that. Yeah. If anybody's ever had a conversation with me and asked for advice, I mean, that's one of the first things that I say. Like, if someone is like, hey, is this market sharp or are you winning on this book in this market or anything like that? I have all the answers, right? I can go back on my Picket, literally tell somebody what my ROI is, how many bets I've placed, et cetera, on, hits on DraftKings or, rebounds on FanDuel and all of this type of stuff. So yeah, I absolutely love that piece of advice.
Yeah, 100% something we preach from the get-go. If you've seen any of our past content, we're all over tracking. It's one of our definitely top three, if not, top five items that we're preaching onto how to be successful. So, all right, guys, you heard it here, man. If you want Salt's plays before they go public, the only place you're going to get that is inside the Edge Zone Discord. And I'm telling you right now, this kind of insight, it doesn't last long because the markets move quick after Salt puts this stuff out. Right? It's typically pretty late at night. We just went over the time differences. So you guys eating midnight snacks, you might want to stay up another 30 minutes and see what comes out from Salt. Keep your notifications on prior to Edge Zone going live later this month. Go ahead and look up Salt on Twitter. Put on notifications. That's how you're going to get his original plays before we go exclusive. And Salt, where else can people find you outside the Discord or outside of X if they're looking for your work?
Yeah, so best thing to do is follow me on X, at SaltCovers, and then I run a YouTube channel as well for myself. It's at SaltCovers, where I go through each. At the moment, it's WNBA game. It's just me talking. I have all of my projections up on screen. So, and we just look at where I've got the game priced compared to where the game opened. And, we just go through each game. where my action is, whether I think there are any actionable sort of angles for that game as of recording. And yeah, I'd say we put out between 3 to 4 videos a week covering the WNBA. Did the same thing for the NBA as well, covering, doing 4 or 5 videos a week. It's a really good place to, learn a bit more about betting and just see where my numbers have the games priced, and also just let you know where my action is as well. So yeah, that would be the other place to reach me, is out on my YouTube.
Yeah, a few things I really love about your channel. One, the videos are quick hitters, right? You're not wasting time. You're getting to the point, and you're putting out good information. And one of the most valuable pieces of that information is how transparent it is, right? You're going into these small details of why something went your way or didn't, or how you see the market moving, or how you're coming about these decisions. And that's just going to build trust in the community that, the information we're giving out is very valuable. I also want to ask Nick his take on the value of salt and what we've discovered so far, with the way he's beating these markets.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, just in general, the idea around this entire Discord and stuff was to provide another angle, of value to people that we've already talked to, or people that will stumble across us, right? I mean, Shane and I have been more in the top down and arbitrage type of community for the last 2+ years, and have been, very successful, and have helped literally thousands of people learn how to do that stuff. But I think one of the very common themes that everybody runs into, right, is getting limited on sports books, right? And not to say that, what Salt's doing and stuff is going to prevent limits or anything, but when you are betting some of these major markets, you can disguise your action a little bit more. You can spread around your action a little bit more. Sometimes you can get these bets down at sharper books that might not limit you that hard. Again, here in America, we have exchanges too that welcome, arbitrage and winning better. So I think this just really provides another angle and a ton of value to a lot of people that we've already talked about, that one, maybe are getting discouraged because they're getting limited. Two, maybe have already given up, and this will give them, that rejuvenation to get back into betting and to, be able to make that side income again. So I think, adding Salt to our team was, hopefully just the beginning. And, I think we're going to really build something great, and, Salt's going to be a big part of that. So.
Yeah, Salt, we appreciate you coming on, mate. I'm going to use that mate again with you. We'll drop that before we end here. We look forward to seeing you drop all this knowledge in the Discord, brother. We look forward to seeing the community's reaction to getting this closing line value ahead of the market. Go ahead and click. We're going to put a link in the description to his socials. Go ahead and check that stuff out. Get ahead of the game and get familiar with Salt, man, because the value's there. Brother, any last words? Because we really appreciate you coming on.
Cheers, mate. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. We've got some really exciting content, really exciting times coming ahead. So yeah, make sure you check out Edge Zone, check out all of our contributors there. It's going to be a really positive and great community that we're building there. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, brother.
Thanks,
we appreciate it. Yep.
I had to try it.
Appreciate you, Nick. Appreciate you, Salt. We will see all you guys in the Edge Zone.